Damon Martin, MMA fighting back here with the Bellator featherweight champion of the world, and many would argue the best featherweight in the entire sport of mixed martial arts. I welcome back today the great AJ McKee. AJ, how are you?
Another day in paradise, man. Enjoying it. Enjoying it. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic, man. Thank you as always for taking the time. Of course, we've chatted a lot over the last year since you won the belt, but of course, the announcement was just made. Your next fight is booked in April, and you're running it back with Patricio Pitbull. Let me start there. How did this whole thing come about?
I don't know. Honestly, I thought I was going to get to fight Borix or someone new. You know, me being the mercenary and so forth, I like to I like to kick ass and take names. So the rematch with Pitbull, it's not overly exciting for myself, but at the end of the day, I don't know. When I fight people, my intent is to make them never want to fight me again. So the fact that Patricio wants to fight me again, this next fight, I'm gonna go in there with a little bit of a different mindset. So yeah, when we get done with this fight, I'm gonna make sure in his mind that there's no doubt and just no doubt that he doesn't want to fight me again. So I'm looking forward to it, man. You know, he thought that first round was early finish or stoppage, whatever. I mean, that was our first exchange. So for me, I think he's just trying to hype himself up a little bit to get himself motivated to get in there, go train and actually feel out a full round and see what happens. But I'm looking forward to going in there and doing the same thing, you know, put the icing on the cake and solidify my name as the best 145er in the world.
Yeah. Let me backtrack because we talked, pretty soon after your title fight when you won the title last year, and you told me at that point, you weren't sure if featherweight was going to be your future. Lightweight was kind of where you were thinking about going. Of course, that's always been an idea to become a 2-division champion. And it seemed like the perfect matchup. You and Pitbull run it back, lightweight title on the line. Then he ends up giving up the title, which was like so out of left field. I did not see that coming. I don't know, like, were you disappointed that this is the way it played out? I mean, you're still getting Pitbull, but like, I know the idea was to get him and get a second title.
Definitely. It's like walking down the path, there's bumps and bruises along the path. For me, him being a champ, him holding on to that belt the entire tournament, I think it was a little slime ball move, if you ask me, personally, because he knows my goals, he knows the accolades and the things that I look forward to achieving within my career, my life. Being champ is one for sure. So him doing it first, and then me going in there, knocking him out, finish him, choking him out in the first. I was expecting to run it back for the 155-pound title, just because, I'm 27 years, about to be 27 years old. Weight cuts aren't getting easier. They're definitely getting a bit harder. I'd love to move up. I can be faster, stronger, bigger. I think I'll have more of just more playtime in there at 155 pounds. So, I don't know. It was a little disappointing for him to release the belt, That's why I wasn't looking forward to fighting him for the 145-pound title. It just didn't really make sense. Him being a champ. If you want your rematch, okay, let's get your rematch at 155. But it's also not smart for him to let me go put on an extra 10 pounds and come in there as a supersized freaking transformer machine, in other words, or something, So, smart move on his path, just a little hiccup on my path. And, I still got my goals. I still got my mindset on my vision. And I'm looking forward to getting back on it. This is just, like I said, he's a pawn in this game at the chest. And, if you get that pawn to the other side of the table, you get a piece back. But I'm getting this pawn off the table.
Yeah. Did you have to change your mentality at all when this fight officially got offered? And the reason I say that is because when we spoke after the title fight, and I totally agree with you, you beat him in under 2 minutes. That's about as dominant as a win as you can get. The motivation to get back up for a Pitbull rematch was, let's go to 155, let's get a second title. That was kind of like the excitement. Like, really fighting him again didn't make a whole lot of sense on paper, but a second title and then making, moving up to lightweight made sense. Did you have to change your mentality a little bit to kind of get up for this one? Just because, listen, we all know Pitbull's a dangerous guy. There's no doubt about that. He's a great fighter, but you did it in under 2 minutes. Like, it's almost like what more are you getting out of the rematch? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of doubters. I've always had doubters in my career and in my ear. So clearly he's a doubter. I don't know if Bellator's a doubter. I think Bellator loves me as a champ. I'm pretty sure they do. I think a lot of people, I don't know. The motivation for myself was the fact that he released the belt. So it's like I don't know if he's trying to get under my skin, but that was all the motivation that I needed. At this point, I want to make it a family affair. Pitbull still has that belt, whether it's Patricio or Patricky. So for me, I'd like to make it a family affair ass whooping at this point, just because, man, the Pitbull brothers have property, AJ Mercenary McKee once again. So I'm looking forward to grabbing both those titles, man. Whoever's in my way, you're going to have a force to be reckoned with. I'm coming to take everything. I'm on a belt hunting spree, dude. I really don't care what belt, any belt, wear a belt. If it's a belt, I want it, Louis, Bellator, anything, I like belts. So I'm on that belt hunting spree right now. But I would say the motivation for this fight was pretty easy, after becoming champ, I definitely felt a little less motivated. I'm like, all right, well, who's next? What's next? You know what I mean? So I enjoyed a little bit of time off. And then I got to that hungry point, was like, all right, screw this, dude. I need a fight. What's up? What's going on? And then so I got on Instagram a little bit, talking here and there. Borix has been wanting his title shot. The dude that just beat Sanchez, I believe he's number 3. And then Patricio. Those are about only 3 fights I could possibly think of. I've been telling Borix he could get it whenever he wants it. You know what I mean? So I think that'll be one for the future. But the motivation for me was like, oh, he thinks this was a fluke. He thinks he has something to come in here. So I don't know. This fight is going to be a little more nitty gritty and I think a little bit dirtier. I might be bringing out some elbows, some knees, just a different arsenal, more bodily damaging strikes and stuff. Nothing to. I don't know. That last fight was a very technical fight, but it wasn't like a brute battle. It wasn't like, oh, AJ's trying to hurt this dude. It was just go in there, win, and do your job. This fight, I want to make sure he never wants to fight me again. You look at any of my opponents and their records. I never want my opponents to fight me again. Because that means that I feel like I left the opening. You know what I mean? It's a fight. You're fighting for your life in a sense. Your family, your goals. Everything you have comes down to that moment within that cage. So for me, I'm ready to get him out of there again. We didn't finish round 1, so let's start up round 2.
Yeah, there's 2 schools of thought when it comes to rematches, or in this case, automatic rematches. There's one side, like I remember when Chris Weidman knocked out Anderson Silva, and even before the fight started, he's like, give him to me again, because everyone's going to say it's a fluke. Everyone's going to say if I beat Anderson, it's going to be a fluke. Give him to me again so I can prove it's not a fluke. Then there's the other side, which is, you beat him so dominantly, how can you top your own performance? You basically knocked him out and submitted him in 2 minutes. I mean, it's kind of like a combo. You got like the perfect ending there. How do you feel about that? Because like you said, you want to get him out of there and you want to make it so this guy never wants to fight you again. Somehow there's some doubt in his mind that there was an early stoppage, whatever the case may be. But on the flip side, people are going to say, well, how can you do it better? You beat him in 2 minutes. You knocked him out and choked him out in under 2 minutes.
For me, so in every fight, win or lose, there's always a lesson to be learned. And that's kind of something my dad's geared me on. He's like, in a win, there's always something to win to like, even if it's an 8-second win. Like when I beat Georgie, there was a big lesson in that. There's always a lesson to be learned. And with this fight, not quite sure, dude. Honestly, I'm ready to go, It was 2 finishes in the first round. So for me, I would say keeping that in mind, we didn't really get to fill each other out, So he doesn't really know what to expect that much. That was our first exchange. Legit our first exchange of punching and kicking, and it rocked him, He bit on the feint. I was going to throw a left. He was going to throw a right hand. I didn't like the spacing, so I backed out, gave him a little distance, circled over, and I saw the head kick. So I set up the head kick, and that was all she wrote. But that was literally the first read of our fight. So for me, nothing's really changed. He doesn't know what to expect. I kind of feel I know what to expect in him. Either he's going to come at me crazy or he's going to try to do the same thing. I don't think he's going to play the range this time and keep his range. I think this time he's going to come at me, and that's when he's going to run into something nitty and gritty.
Yeah. You mentioned before the future for you at lightweight, and you mentioned a couple guys out there, of course, Adam Boric and Mads Burnell. They got a fight coming up. Everyone's talked about that being the number one contender fight. I think Bellator actually said it's a number one contender fight, but you said your time at featherweight, there is a clock. There is a ticking time clock where featherweight's just not viable for you. I don't want to discount those guys, and I don't want to ruin their dreams in this interview. But is there a good chance if you beat, everything goes well, you beat Patricio again? You talk about a family ass whooping affair, going up to 155. There would be something satisfying about taking the title away from his brother too. Is there a chance this is your last fight at featherweight?
Possibly. Possibly. I'm getting older. Weight cut's getting harder. Obviously, it's not like unbearable. I think people fail to realize I've been in the sport 5 years consecutively, back to back to back, putting on 3-4 fights a year, up until the tournament. So for me, cutting weight's been something I've done my entire life, from high school wrestling to college to even junior JUCO state and JC, and you know what I mean. So wrestling weight cutting's been my entire life. I think my skill set is good enough to the point to where going up to 155s, being faster, stronger, I wouldn't have a problem. On top of, I'm getting bigger, dude. I'm starting to walk around close to 180. I could touch 180 now. So obviously I don't want to be touching 180, but if I'm in the gym, I don't lift weights. The most I'll lift is 45 pounds on each side of a bar. So I don't really lift weights. If I were to really get in the gym and lift a bit, I think I can make exponential growth at 155 and really set just new. I don't know. Also, I've had 18 fights at 145 pounds. Who's left in the division? You know what I mean? So, Boric would be that one, or Burnell. But after that, realistically, there's nothing left in the division for me. So, 55s is definitely the move. I've been scoping that out for a few years, and we'll see where things lie. Maybe go over to Showtime, get a little boxing in, and get some big names over there as well.
I love it. I love the matchup with Patricky. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, there's something special. It's a rare thing we can have brothers in the sport. Even rarer that you could get a chance to take the title from one, take the title from the other. As cool as it would have been to beat Patricio twice in a row to become a 2-division champion, there is something kind of cool about the chance to maybe take it from his brother, right?
Yeah, maybe we'll just put 3 behind there. You know what I mean? Same fight to me.
You mentioned Showtime there, and I know when I met you actually in person for the first time was at the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight in Cleveland. You were doing some commentary and stuff like that, and I know coming out of your last fight we talked about this, and I talked to Steven Espinoza about you before that Jake Paul fight, and I said, listen, AJ McKee is to me the face of Bellator now. He is the biggest star in that organization. How important is AJ McKee to the future of Bellator? And of course, he loves you, and you're a huge important asset. What is your relationship like with Bellator right now, in terms of your contract, in terms of where you're at in your career? Because I know you do have a lot of opportunities. You talked about Showtime, maybe doing some boxing, things like that. But of course, that question's always going to come up. What about AJ going to the UFC? So where are you at in your relationship with Bellator right now?
Relationship's good. It's always been a family here at Bellator. They've always taken care of me. It's been great business. You know what I mean? They've worked side by side with my father in building me into the superstar that I'm becoming. And I think this is just the beginning. First world title, first. I don't know. We're just getting started, man. So. I love Bellator. It's a home. I can work with them. The endorsement wise, there's big things and big opportunities that you can't do in other organizations, PFL, UFC, ONE FC. You know, I can't go get a Snickers deal, Cadillac deal, a Porsche deal, undefeated. Like there's certain deals that I don't think they're not possible outside of Bellator. Me having the platform and the relationship with Bellator, I can set up things and be able to kind of, like I've been saying, is be able to go box with Espinoza on Showtime and kind of balance it out with Bellator as well. And that's just having the great relationship between those two companies, and then myself being in the middle and being able to have a mutual ground in relation there as well. So yeah, man, I love it here. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to just getting back to fighting those 3-4 fights a year, though, man. I genuinely love the fight. You know, obviously the money's a key. It's very big factor into life. I live in California, so you know that $1 million is like that. You know, that's a down payment on a house. So for me, man, I genuinely love the fight. You know, it's not about the money. Obviously, it is about the money, but at the end of the day, I just love the fight. And you know, contracts. I got 3 left at the moment. We'll see where things go. I don't know. Like I said, I think Bellator may have thought it was maybe a quick finish or a fluke, or I don't know. So for me, like I told them, you know, after I fought Cardwell, I wanted to show them what I was worth. You know, I wanted to finish out the $1 million tournament and put that $1 million check above my name, so that every check after that is nothing under $1 million. And yeah, I guess I'm just not done showing myself yet. So I'm gonna go out there and put the icing on the cake one last time and see where things go from there.
Yeah, you mentioned 3 fights left on the deal, and the opportunity to do other things is huge. We've seen it recently with Francis Ngannou in the UFC. Maybe you've seen just a little bit of like the drama that's going on there. Francis really wants the chance to, you know, box. He has an opportunity to potentially box Tyson Fury. I joked with Curtis Blades when I told.
That's not happening with Uncle Dana. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's what I told. I was like, listen, he's got. I was like, I don't know whether you want to say he's got a chance of winning or not. You pay me $30 million, I'll get knocked out by Tyson Fury tomorrow. Like I'll stay. I'll lose. I'll lose horrifically, but I'll go in there for $30 million to get paid. But does that? I mean, that opportunity, and it's not like asking you to sit here and take shots at the UFC, but like the fact that you could even have that mention, like, hey, I want to do a boxing match. Showtime's a partner. Steven Espinoza said he would love to do things like outside of just fighting with you. You can't do that other places.
Agreed. I've spoke with Espinoza personally myself, you know, just kind of putting fillers out there. Hey, what's up, Espinoza? When can I get on a card? You know, clearly they like what they see. That's why they've had me commentate previous couple events. So with that, you know, Espinoza asked me, he's like, who would you fight? I don't fucking care. I'll fight anybody, bro. Who you want? I think the name that I gave him, I gave him like 4 or 5 names. I was like, what? I'm cool with Danny Garcia. So I'm like, that'd be a cool match. You know what I mean? He's a power hitter and he's a dog, bro. Bro's coming to fight. You know what I mean? So that would be a really big fight. Earl Spence, that'd be another big fight. You know, I don't care. My ultimate sparring match or move, because Floyd don't fight no more, but I've been calling Floyd out. It's not a fight. I think me being the best at my sport, him being the best at his sport, it would be phenomenal for me to be able to go in there and just move around with him and experience moving with the best of the best. You know, I could really gauge myself, see where I'm at, and I feel like see potentially where I have, whether or not I have a big future in the boxing community. Which I honestly and strongly believe that I do. A few months of just strictly training boxing, and I think I can make some very big growth within those months. But yeah, man, boxing is fun. I don't have to worry about getting elbowed, kicked. If I get rocked, I could take a knee and take a little second. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a different world, a different realm. 3-minute periods, it's different conditioning you got to get used to. But man, I'm all about learning new things, evolving and leveling up. So I think that's one sport, hand-to-hand combat wise, I'll be able to implement into my fight world and just pretty much cross promote and bring both worlds together. You know, boxing was really the pinnacle of all of I wouldn't say all sports, but kind of, man. Boxing's been around for so many years. You know what I mean? It's the closest thing to the gladiator days that we had until mixed martial arts came around. And now, MMA, it's Roman gladiators without the weapons. And I think that's what people thrive on and like the most. So I think bringing over a little bit of boxing attention and getting those guys involved with mixed martial arts is key. I don't think any boxers are going to come do MMA, but I mean, hey, it's cool to be able to go transition and share that moment with them in their realm, in their world. And, at the end of the day, this is entertainment. So put on some good shows, man. I love the way boxers get to walk out with all their rap artists and their whole entourage. That's where I'm waiting for mixed martial arts to become a real sport like that, so I can begin to do things like that. Like, I'd love to have Snoop, OT, 50 Cent, just all these OG guys, Wiz, like anybody I'm in cahoots with that's kind of just watched me since the beginning, I think it'd be dope to just share those moments with them. They know what it's like to be backstage for their events, but they don't know what it's like to be backstage for our events. So like, I had an OT Genesis in the back one time, and like, it's just a completely different vibe, the warm up versus his warm up for a performance and so forth. So for me, it's just being able to share that moment with those guys and bring them into my realm and vice versa, So the boxing world, that's where I'm looking forward to getting into and being able to put on a real entertainment show.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Now, this question I'm about to ask you, AJ, is really difficult to answer because we always know things change in the future. What happens today may not impact tomorrow, or it may change everything forever tomorrow. But right here where we sit right now, February 2022, you seem happy in terms of where you're at in your career with Bellator, with Showtime, the opportunities they're affording you. Now, maybe that'll change 6 months down the road, because I know we're all guilty, and I'm guilty. I've asked you this a million times, going to the UFC and fighting the guys over there, all those kind of things. But if you're getting paid well, and you have these kind of opportunities, and you get a chance to do boxing, and maybe you make a huge impact in boxing, and that becomes your focus. I don't know, but if you never did anything else besides Bellator, boxing, things like that, would you be satisfied? Like, do you feel like you don't need the UFC to feel like you made a career out of yourself? Do you know what I mean?
No, I definitely don't. But I feel like it's proving a point. I love to prove points. You tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it just to prove you wrong. And then I'm going to come back and be like, hey, told you so. Like, that's just like, I used to troll fans. Oh, you're going to get your ass whooped. I'd save their comments, screenshot a picture, and then go back after I win the fight and be like, hey, so what happened? Like, I thought I was going to get my ass whooped. Like, it's just fun for me. But at the end of the day, one day I have to own a UFC title. Definitely, hands down, just to prove that point, like I said, I'm on a belt hunting spree. It could be ONE FC, UFC, PFL. I would love to own one belt in every organization, but in all honesty, I'd love to just unify the belts, and whoever feels like they're the baddest man, come step up to the plate. That's the way it should be done. And that's something that I learned from the boxing world. Once you reach that plateau of where you're at, yeah, man, you got to bring other people in and see what the move is. And I don't know, man, UFC, with what I would like to do, I know the goals and the things that I would like to do, it can't happen in the UFC. So I'm trying to set things up and build the relationships now, so that once I get to the platform of where I'm comfortable at, you know what I mean? A couple 100,000 followers, million followers. I can go to these companies and be like, hey, your guys' product fits into my lifestyle well. It's a genuine relationship that I have with your product. And that's where you kind of build the chemistry and the relationship. So Undefeated, I don't think is going to be going to UFC. Snickers isn't going to be going to UFC. I don't know. Could be a possibility. But as far as in this present moment, I don't see it happening. But yeah, definitely, man. A big key piece for me as well is that I think people tend to forget that the organizations make the fight, or the fighters make the organization, not the organizations make the fighters. So it's our skill sets that, as athletes that have gotten UFC the representation that they have. I feel like my skill set has gotten not only myself, but Bellator, the recognition that we deserve as a company, me as an individual. And yeah, I'm looking forward to testing my skills against anyone that claims they're the best, because at the end of the day, I know I'm the best.
Yeah, it's funny because we've had this argument. I mean, I'm back in the day when, like, when I covered UFC and Pride, and everyone's like, "Oh, if you're not in Pride, you're not the best. You're not this, you're not the best."
Those Pride days were beast.
Yeah, and I know you see it, like, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for a guy like Alexander Volkanovski. He's a monster. Again, I've talked to him, incredibly nice guy, incredible fighter. But when he says things like, AJ hasn't fought the same level of competition, those kind of things.
Bro has no jiu-jitsu. What the fuck is he talking about? Hold on. This man mentioned my name? Oh, yeah. Volkanovski. Talk to Uncle Dana, ASAP, player. Bring it over to Showtime, Let McKee do his mercenary thing, man. The audacity. This man, level of competition. Bro, my 4-year-old brother has better wrestling and jiu-jitsu than you. What the? Get this guy, man. Man. You know that's a double leg?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Because how many times, like, we've heard guys in certain organizations say things like that, and then we see Eddie Alvarez comes over, becomes a champion. Michael Chandler comes over, and he's one of the top guys in the world. We've seen when Strikeforce is around, we saw Luke Rockhold comes over, becomes champion. Daniel Cormier. It's like this perception that just because you're not in the UFC, you're not good is so utterly ridiculous.
See, this is where I feel like my mindset of the fighters making the organization is different from other fighters. These fighters think that the organization is what's making the fighter. And you can tell in his mindset of, AJ's never fought top level competition. Bro, a fight is a fight. Have you ever been in a street fight? It's a fight. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter the level of competition. You can get caught at any point, any moment. But for me, how many losses does Volkanovski have? How many losses does this person have? There's no one that is undefeated like myself, with a finish rate like myself, with a mixed martial arts record like myself. 13 finishes, 6 subs, 5 knockouts. Bro, look at the stats. 10 finishes in the first round. Bro, the day Volkanovski can come to me with his stats looking even halfway looking like that, then bro can say something to me. Until then, I'm a big brother him like Pitbull. I'm going to put my shades on and look at him so he doesn't even know if I'm looking at him. But I'm going to still be looking straight at him. You know what I mean? Just giving him that look like, you have no idea what you're talking yourself into. And like straight up, he can try to hype himself up, but he's protected by the UFC. And until he's not protected by the UFC, I don't want to hear anything by anybody. I'm not protected. I'm an open book. If somebody feels that they're the best, like I said, unify these belts, bring it on. All smoke. Where there's smoke, there will be fire. And you got to get past the fire to get to the smoke. And I'm not fired, and I'm ready to bring it.
I love it. Real quick before I get you out of here, AJ, I got to ask, speaking of fire, I saw your dad pop up recently in a video in Jake Paul's Dana White diss track. What'd you think of that? First off, let me ask, what did you think of the diss track? I know I'm setting you up here because I'm asking you what you think of a Dana White diss track, but when I saw your dad, and I know your dad, I was like, what's Antonio doing in here?
I plead the fifth. It's comical, man. It's fucking entertainment to me, dude. Nobody challenges Dana. So for him to challenge Dana like that, for me, I find it entertaining. It was a little uncomfortable for me to have my father in that video, but I mean, it's no hard feelings. At the end of the day, man, it's business. This is entertainment, and kid's doing good shit. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, whether you hate him or you like him, he's entertaining, and people are talking about him. It's the only fucking Dana doesn't mention anyone outside the UFC, but he mentions Jake Paul. Jake's doing something right. You know what I mean? So, for me, it's entertainment, man. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. The lyrics though are man, those aren't that funny. Those aren't that funny, but yeah, man, it's good. It's entertaining. You know, at the end of the day, I don't know if Jake has intents on stepping in that cage. If he does, he knows where I'm at, and he better come train with us. Outside of that, it's entertaining, man. My dad, my dad, he's mellowed out so much over the years, and I think that's his way of just like, I don't know. I don't know what his mindset or intent is on it. It's me, it was a laughing stock. It was comical. I enjoyed it.
I remember we were talking before the Pitbull fight, and I said something joking about him fighting Captain Eric, and boy, he jumped right in that interview. He heard me. I was like, "Your dad will still fight somebody. I know he will."
Bro, this man is 53 years old, still trying to fight. When I tell you our blood is different, that's what I'm telling you, bro. Volkanovski, Holloway's my dream fight. Shout out to Holloway, respect that man, OG of all OGs, 145-pound king right there. But Volkanovski, all these other guys, Zombie, like, what's up? Like, I'm trying, man. And it's like everybody in the MMA world knows how my father used to be. He was very loud, he didn't bite his tongue, and he's going to say exactly what he feels. I'm a little more mellow. Obviously, the blood's within me. I have those crazy tendencies, but I've learned to control myself, keep myself mild managed, and man, you pick and choose your battles. You know what I mean? So I just, man, I'm ready to fight, bro. These people, everybody says they're ready to fight, but when it comes down to actually getting in there and pulling strings to make certain things happen, I don't think people like to deal with the hassle of trying to put things together. Where me, I'm if I set my mind on something, I'm the type of person, oh, it needs to be done next week, I'm going to do it now just to get it done. So I have all of this week to do what I need until next week. I'm just a get it done type person, you know. I think it goes into show with my fighting skills as well. I see an opportunity and I capitalize on it every time.
Yeah. And you mentioned, the Jake Paul thing. It's funny because everyone wants to rag on him for, whatever he's doing in his career. I like Jake. I've talked to Jake, several
like the
times.
Island Boys.
but here's the thing with Jake, like, whether you like him or don't like it, it's kind of funny. Every time he kind of takes aim at Dana, the funny thing is, like, the fighters I talk to, they're like, yeah, Jake, he's loud, he's doing this, but he's got a point. He's got a point.
Very
like,
good point.
You know what I mean? Like, there is and he's got a big audience. Like, you cannot fault the guy for at least shining a spotlight on real problems in our sport.
Agreed, and these were things that my dad, I think personally for my dad stepping into the video, it was the things he was speaking upon in the video. My dad's been talking about fighters unions and unifying belts and just more things for the fighters, and that's where I can say boxing is a full-bred sport versus mixed martial arts. I see it kind of more as entertainment, but it's becoming a sport to a different level. And me being the second generation of fighters stepping into the sport, and then obviously potentially having my little brother be the third generation of fighters coming up in the game. By the time I step away and he steps in, I would like it to be a full-on sport, or at least gearing towards it. You know what I mean? So for me, I love what he's doing. He's bringing a lot of attention to the sport. I guess some people would say it's bad attention, but I think it's good attention because of the flaws and the things that he's pointing out. I don't like to speak upon things too much within the fight world because I want to give it opportunity to actually grow, I want to give it an opportunity to see over the next, this is my 5th year being pro. So I got to come into the game, see the game, learn a lot about the game. Also having my father by my side, he's broke down and kind of showed me, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is where this is going now. This is where this is going. You're in a little dilemma here. You can kind of weigh out and wait and do this and that. So having him in my corner, first generation knowledge is key. But the second generation knowledge, the things that I'm envisioning for myself and my goals, that's where I'm getting eager, but I'm trying to stay patient. There's many things I want to step in and really just full force. Like, look, this is what we're doing. I want to do it this way. Boom, boom, boom. Pensions, retirement plans, this, or like just all kind of things. So for me, in due time, I feel like with a little bit more star power, a little bit more following, the people behind me, just getting to know me, personally for who I am. I think that'll be a big key to the MMA fans in showing them who I am, the possibilities, things that I want to do in this sport. And yeah, man, I think step one is unify those belts so I can go out there and show the world who the mercenary really is.
Yeah, I know you're a fighter first, but I always loved the Jay-Z quote. You're not a businessman, you're a businessman.
Hey, that's factual in MMA, for real, for real.
Last thing I want to real quick, and I'm only bringing this up because I heard about this from the last Jake Paul Tyron Woodley card when you were out there. Do you have some kind of beef with the Diaz team?
Nah, man, I wouldn't call it beef. I mean, Anthony Pretty Boy is not to be touched in my presence. Period. Out of respect for me or whoever the hell you want to put respect on it for, he's not to be touched in my presence. You know, I'm not too fond of Chris or Nate. You know what I mean? I don't like bullies. So y'all trying to walk around and bully Nate or Anthony, that's not going to fly with me. So every encounter we kind of have, it's been a little touchy, but I wouldn't call it a beef because if it was a real beef, it would get handled. You know, he's got one fight left in his contract. Maybe I get him on Showtime and get him over there. Like I said, I love family affair ass whoopings. I know Chris is Nate's little pocket holder. You know what I mean? So, hey, maybe I'll beat him up and then beat Nate up after. I don't really care. Like I said, I love the fight. And at the end of the day, we can't talk about it. We're both fighters. We can settle it like OGs. You know what I mean? I had a previous issue with one of his boys, man, a couple years back, and just OG style. I sent Nate a text like, "Yo, what's good? Tell your boy I know he's UFC. I'm Bellator. Like, bro, we've been in the game since before that. Like, if we got an issue, let's go backyard style, how we originated, and get down, bro." Of course, no response, but some people just ain't cut from that cloth like that. You know what I mean? Versus my dad, we know that man's crazy as hell. So I know I got it in me, and that's why I keep it tamed a little bit. But man, disrespect, you know, it only goes so far. And I now feel disrespected, and that's where it becomes a problem. And that's why I asked Nate personally. I said, "What's good, bro? We got an issue?" And he just kind of laughs. And I'm like, that's not a no, but that's not a yes. But what's up? You know? Yeah. So every time I see Nate, that's the question. What's good? We got an issue? What's good? Like, is there a problem, bro? Like, so I don't think it's a real issue. And if it does come down to an issue, like I said, we can let these do the talking.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. One fight left on his contract. Talk about big fights, big paychecks. Nate Diaz and Bellator. Nate Diaz here, and Showtime. You know?
Hey, bring that ass here, boy. And it's weird because like I grew up watching Nick and Nate. You know what I mean? Favorite fighters since I was a kid, dude. They've been in the game since, you know, when my dad was fighting, they were the kids in the game. Now I'm the kid in the game, and they're the older guys in the game. So, you know, I had an opportunity to meet Nick. And Nick walked over, introduced himself, you know, while Nate and Chris Avila over there doing their little brother thing, you know how little brothers are. And so that's just the way I see it. You know, there's no real beef there. It's big brother, little brother, you know, and little brothers will always be little brothers until the big brother puts the little brother in check. But hopefully I get to be the big brother and put that dude in check. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now you got your little brother coming up now too, right? So you're the big brother. You got the little brother coming up under you.
Bruh, Mason King McKee, mark my words, first world champ under 18. The day I can put a bet on it, the line opens up for him, his first pro fight, I'm putting $100,000 on it. Whoever posts the bid, I'm betting on it. Mason will be the first world champ undefeated under 18.
How old is he right now?
He's 4.
Oh my gosh. So we got a few years to wait, but
I give it about 12 years. 12 years he'll go pro.
Talk about a generational thing to think about what your dad did in his career, what you're doing in your career, and then think about, you know, like a decade from now, a little over a decade from now, you got another McKee coming up. How crazy is that? Like the family you're building right now.
That's what I'm saying. If it's not my time, it'll be his time. Patience is key. You know, I'm not a patient person, but over the years, I've had to learn to be patient, and I'm becoming more and more patient with the more knowledge that I learn. You're able to sit back and assess situations more when you're patient. So that's a big key, you know, planning for the future and planning for the worst. Obviously, you want to plan for the future first, and always have a backup plan for the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, AJ, it is always a pleasure to catch up, man. You know, I really do appreciate the time. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Of course, best of luck to your teammate fighting on the card this weekend. Glad you got your fight booked in April. You know, I always look forward to your fights, man. So I really appreciate taking the time. Have a good training camp. And man, can't wait for April.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And speak to you soon. I'm going to go get this dub, finish out round 1.